and welcome to episode 4 of our Levy Forum. I'm your host, Jared Fry, and joining me in studio today is Treasurer of Medina City Schools, Dave Chambers. Dave, welcome, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
And
it's good to be here.
Exactly. We're here to discuss, with the current levy getting ready to come off the ballot in December of 2018, that was the emergency levy that was passed in 2013. The schools are approaching the ballot here in May, looking to pass a substitute levy for that levy that will expire in 2018. I know that's a mouthful to get out there.
Yes, it is.
And wanted to start off first, as you can see here, we have the Medina City Schools webpage behind us. You can go there, and as you scroll down, there's a lot of information to get through. Hopefully in the 2 or 3 episodes we've had on air, you've been able to do that. But you can go right here, you'll see the Moving Medina Forward button. You can click that, and I'll cheat here since I did it a little ahead of time. And that'll take you right into the next page and answer all your questions as you scroll through there. For anything we don't cover or have covered in these last 3 episodes and now in this 4th show, having you here, we're looking to delve a little bit deeper into the financials of this situation, and no one better to have in than the Treasurer of Medina City Schools to help us out with that.
We're always saying that. We're always saying that.
Well, I think first, one of the biggest things, and you can see it here on the website, is that it's going to substitute from what was a 5.9 mil. It will be now a 5.2 mil.
That's correct.
Why don't you explain that? I know we've talked about it in some of the shows, but maybe explain to us a little bit why the millage change.
Okay, what happens is the county auditor goes ahead and sets the values for the millage, and what he has to do is look at the dollar figure that we're trying to raise, and as your reappraisals and new constructions come on, he lowers the millage rate to continue that dollar rate that we need to collect. So last year it was 5.9. This year it's 5.2. If any taxpayer calls in the county auditor right now, it's at 5.2. So we're just going to continue with the 5.2 mils going forward.
Now the millage changed, but basically, as you just stated there, the dollar amount stays about the same then.
The dollar amount, yes, that's what the county auditor has to do, is try and keep that dollar amount level throughout the entire levy.
So whether housing values over that course of time go up or go down, those adjustments are made to keep that collection at the same cost?
That is correct.
Okay. And I guess as you look at this now, and with the levy that we have coming up in May, you're kind of looking at a 5-year forecast, or that's what you guys have done. While I call this up, why don't you explain a little bit about what got the school district to this point of looking at this substitute levy to go on in May, and what were the numbers that kind of played into that?
Okay, with the 5-year forecast, we have to create a 5-year forecast on a yearly basis in October and then again in May. And with the 5-year forecast from October, we were noticing that our monies will be dropping off. And if you look at our balances here, this is our balance going forward all the way to 2022. Our balance there, if everything remains the same, number of teachers remain the same, the costs for any purchases, supplies, continue to grow as they have, we're looking at our balance dropping down to $1.5 million.
I can blow that up a little bit there, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the figure right there.
And then, again, as you look at that, that's when you, as a district, had to start evaluating things and saying, well, we don't want to be at that point, and they kind of got the discussion started here for the levy that we're going to see here in May.
That's correct, yes. Without the levy, the $1.5 million, I mean, we go through that within a month's time. What we're looking at is with the continuation of the levy, then we would be ending at in 2022 at $24 million. And if you think about going back to 2013, the district was around $20 million when the emergency levy went on. So we're trying to keep it the same, and we're trying to stretch it out. I know when Dave Knight was here, Dave Knight talked about keeping the current emergency levy on for 6-7 years if we could. He was being conservative, and what we're trying to do is the same. We're trying to stretch that levy out as far as possible, but we're also trying to implement new programming. I know the superintendent had his 5-year strategic plan going, and with the 5-year strategic plan, it's already implemented in our 5-year forecast. So with that new implementation of programming and everything that went into the 5-year forecast, we're able to stretch that out to 2022.
And I think that's a great point you brought on in reference to Dave Knight and looking at that, looking to be 5 or 6. But basically what you're saying here is through strategic planning and looking at all this, you're looking to extend it beyond that 5 and 6 year shelf life by just substituting this levy in and continuing it through the course of 2022. You should still be able to offer
beyond,
services.
and beyond
22. And like you said, you touched on as well, then that also, as we had with Superintendent Sable and also with Tina Cassidy and Matt Maddy on our other episodes, and also Rob Travis, able to continue the services that the residents had asked for and received when they voted for the levy back in 2013, able to continue those services as well as improve them and offer more services for the same dollar amount.
That is correct.
And again, I can't stress that enough. Even though the millage changes, the dollar collections are the same, you're just looking to basically substitute in what's going away in 2018 to be able to continue to offer all the services and stay financially
Correct.
sound.
Because if you look at what we have before the levy, if the $6.6 million drop off, we're definitely going to be in a situation where the district is going to need more money sooner than later.
And I know there's a lot of variables in play with that, but as you do look at that, if you don't do anything with this levy in May, and you're looking at 1.5 in 2022, like you said, that goes through very quickly.
Right.
You would have to go back to the voters at something that could be substantially higher than what you're looking at if they could continue what's currently in place.
That is correct. And by 2020, maybe 2021, at $17 million, our 5-year forecast, if nothing occurs, our 5-year forecast will be in the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
The following years, the state auditor will be coming in and telling us that we'll be in fiscal watch if nothing happens.
Right. So really for the residents and the voters, just continuing what they're doing now with the millage. I know it's all the wording's all different as you go to the ballot with a substitute and the emergency, but you're basically looking to substitute the levy that expires in 2018 that was passed in 2013 and continue it on, for years to come, past 2022 and beyond.
Yes, it'll be going on for the lifetime, yes.
At the same cost. And then that also allows you, I guess with the wording in the ballot, allows you additional opportunities to bring in additional revenue as well.
There's always opportunities for more revenue. We always look for bringing money into the district. The forecast itself is only for operating levy or operating revenues and for emergency levy. When the substitute comes in, we'll replace the emergency levy with the substitute levy. And so that's all you're seeing here. But the district as a whole is always looking to bring in more revenues.
Well, I think one of those is also in, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, but it also allows you with construction and businesses a possible avenue of revenue there as well.
That's correct. The substitute allows, if there's new construction, right now with the emergency levy, as new construction comes on, the auditor by law is supposed to reduce the millage itself, which you see he's done this year. With new construction coming on with the with the substitute levy, you will see that the district will be able to grow in its revenue itself. The levy allows for it to grow. So the taxpayers themselves will see the same amount of taxes going out, but the new construction coming in will allow for growth in the levy.
And like you said too, not only that, but also other avenues that you guys have been looking into bringing additional revenue in. You're trying to be fiscally sound with taxpayer dollars and find additional ways to bring in revenue to continue things in the district.
We're always trying to be fiscally sound, yes.
And
yes,
now,
you are correct.
And I guess look at this too, and this is something you can break down. What is the cash balance that has to be on hand at a given time in a district for auditors' purposes? Are you able to give me that a rough amount? I won't hold you the exact number.
For the auditors to come in, you're talking about?
Or no, just that you have to have in your balances. I'm not sure if I can explain
There is
it
no
right.
set balance that any school district has to have.
I didn't know if it had to be like 6 months worth of.
No, there's no set balance. But what they will do is they'll look at your 5-year forecast. If you're in the negative in the first or second year going out of your 5-year forecast, then the auditors will come in and determine if their changes need to be made.
And kind of look at what course of action you guys have in place and whether they have to. And that's happened in a few other districts around this area at some point in time. So Dave, as we look at these numbers and you're asking the voters to kind of look at a continuous levy when it substitutes in for the one that expires, I guess one of the biggest questions that residents have is what, with an emergency levy, it expires in 5 years. You can kind of hold administration or staff to a set of goals.
Yes.
What do you guys have in place if this does become a continuous to kind of have that, that check and balance in regards to fiscal financial?
Well, on a yearly basis, we were going to be reporting out to the board at a regular board meeting the advances that would be going on in the district. On a monthly basis, we report the finances of the entire district. So we could hit upon the substitute levy at that point and where we are, money's coming in, money's going out for the substitute levy itself. So I think that would be what the community would be looking for as far as checks and balances throughout the year.
And as we touched on earlier, Dave, you talked about all the great transparency and that you've accomplished here at school board meetings, and one of the great ways that you have made all the financial recordings a little more public, a little more transparent. Everyone can see those. Why don't you show us a little more about that to kind of help people understand that the checks and balances that will be in place with passage of this levy?
Sure. If you go to our website, you'll see that we have our financial reports on there. The financial reports actually, if it will come through, the financial reports actually will show you going back to 2014 when we started.
We have to double tap it. Let's see. Oh, no, that just made it bigger for us.
Okay.
There it goes.
There you go.
Just had to be patient with it.
And they go back to 2014 when I started here. So you have every month going back. If you go to view all for fiscal year 17, which is also has the current year, fiscal year 18 on here, you can see everything going back. We just, the board just passed January's financials, so those will be coming on here as well. We have our 5-year forecast for the last 2 years on there, I believe. And again, they're in there twice a year, so we have October and May. October of 16, May of 16, going back all through from the time we started. We also have, which is new for last year, we started putting our audits on there. So if you have any questions about our audits, I'm sorry, I put history as audits on there.
That's right. That shows the past year's audits, though.
So yeah, we have our audits on there, and then we also put in our tax budgets for the last 2 years.
So not only is the website a great place to find information about the levy, but it's also a great way to stay in touch with what the district's doing financially and kind of maintain that check and balance moving forward.
Correct. Also, the auditor or the treasurer of state has a website called ohiochecksbooks.com, and we, on a monthly basis, upload all our checks into that. And they do some finagling with the figures and give you great graphs and give you all the checks that have gone out for the district for the last 2 years. So.
And that's something that's great to keep track of and help with all the continuing programs that are going and the new ones that are coming in. You can kind of see where those dollars are being put to use for those programs, which were promised to the voters when they passed back in 2013. And the same thing that'll continue with passage of the levy here in May, looking to continue those services and improve upon them.
That's correct, yes.
And so really the website's a wonderful place. Not to mention, if anytime anyone wants to show up for a Medina City School Board meeting, they're welcome to attend.
Yes,
exactly. So again, I guess this thing is looking, from your standpoint, your staff and everyone's looking to do a great financial plan for 5 years and help to maintain stability within the district even beyond those 5 years.
That's what we're hoping with the substitute levy, yes. We're looking for stability. We're also looking for increased programming, and we're looking for going ahead and being able to give to the community what the community wants the school district to give to them.
And then I guess the biggest key there, too, to kind of go back to what we touched on earlier, we're going to substitute this emergency levy. It's going to go on to be kind of a continuous collection, but it won't be an increase anywhere along the way. It'll still maintain the same collections from a district standpoint. The millage could change depending on if people really dissect it, depending, like you said, on the realtors and the auditors' review of that, but basically it'll still be the same collection.
The collection will remain the same. What they'll see is the millage will actually be dropping as it goes off through future years. Because as valuations go up, the millage will be dropping down.
Right. So that actually, but still collecting at that same rate.
That's correct.
And continuing on the great services that were promised back in 2013, you're able to continue those well past the 2020s and beyond from your financial forecast. So that's a great outlook and something you guys will continue to monitor.
Always have.
Because as anyone knows, the fiscal market's never always a stable straight line. There's always some up and downs to that, and that's what you guys are going to stay on top of, whether that be looking for additional revenue, creative ways to get new funding, as well as taking good care of the money that is received from the taxpayers.
Yes, I agree everything with what you said.
So in terms of that, but again, we can't stress enough the website, how great the website is. We kind of touched on that a minute ago, but here you can go through the Treasurer's Department, and as you said, I think that's something I learned new today here too. Everything that's out there, that anyone that wants to delve into this can really find out how that money is being spent, where it's being put to use. They then can show up at any board meeting to ask questions if they have any, and I'm sure your lines are open anytime for questions or concerns.
Door is always open. You could ask anybody in the district. They could walk right in, and yes, I'll answer any phone call that they have.
So this is great information on the Medina City Schools website, which is www.medinabees.org. Great place to find this information. But overall, the greatest information, could you summarize best for me as a treasurer and you look at this levy that's going to be on the ballot in May? How would you best explain it to the voters?
How would I explain that? I would say that it's a no tax increase to the voters. They would have increased programming. We had the levy back in 2013 that brought programming back. We're trying to increase programming from that point on, trying to offer stability to the district. And I think it's a win for not only the district, but it's also a win for the community, because it's the community that actually brought forth the new programming that the 5-year strategic plan has.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that you touched on. These are all things that the residents and the voters asked for clear back in 2013 for the services, transportation, programming that were brought back with the passage of that emergency levy. And now you guys are just going to look to be able to continue that with the substitute levy to continue the services and improve those services that all along are just things that are asked for by the residents and students and parents of the district.
That's correct.
So again, a great way to maintain, and as we looked at those numbers before, and I'll try to call those up again here real quick. Again, as you forecast out again with that nice 5-year strategic planning and planning ahead, able to dissect those numbers and see that you're able to maintain services and improve those services with a passage of this levy in May. So that would definitely help you guys with improved programming, I should say, and still give residents what they ask for and find ways to improve upon that. And all of that being very transparent, as you just mentioned, from use of the website, being able to track all the financial spending being done within the district. And of course, like you said, your door is always open and welcome to come to any school board meeting to ask any questions that they might have regarding this. But I think the key is all this can be done at no new additional cost to the voters.
That is correct. And if you look at it, we're giving stability with the levy. So that's the key part about that. Stability for not only the district, stability for the students too. Because when you start looking at increasing programming, it increases opportunities for them. And yes, you are correct. It's very important for it.
And I think with your stewardship of the finances, you're able to expand on Dave Knight's vision of having that go beyond that 5 and 6 years that he originally projected back in 2013. You guys as a district are able to expand upon that and go well beyond the year 2022 and beyond. Of course, that'll be your next 5-year strategic plan, which you guys look at on a yearly basis. So you'll be extending out very soon into 2023 and years forward. But again, something great to continue these services at no additional cost to the voters, I guess, is the biggest way to, whether you see the millage change, anything else that's different on that, the bottom line is it's no new dollars that are being asked for of the voters, just a continuation of what's already being collected.
That is correct.
Of course, the Medina City Schools webpage, a wonderful source of information. As you stated before, a great way to see all the financials going on in the district, as well as to find out every detail within those financials. You can find that there. Not to mention, it's a great place, as I can click back over here to the homepage, and that homepage is www.medinabees.org, and you can click over, oops, that's our business one there. There's our homepage. And you can scroll through, and you go right down to the moving forward logo. You click on that, and that'll take you into the levy information page within www.medinabees.org, and you can click right through there and get all the information you want to find out about this substitute levy, the millage, the cost. I know that's a lot of that you broke down here for us today, and a little bit of the explanation why. But again, is there anything in closing as we go to wrap this up that I might have missed from a financial standpoint that you want to bring home?
In all honesty, I don't think you missed anything. I just think that with the levy, it's same cost, increased programming, and bright future for the kids.
And again, make sure you go to the website, www.medinabees.org, or you can go give a call to the district, 330-636-3010, for any questions you might have regarding the levy. But make sure you get informed before you head out to vote this May. Dave Chambers, I want to thank you for joining us here today and really breaking down the financial side of things for us. I know it's a very confusing thing sometimes for these voters, so I appreciate your time here today.
Well, it's confusing, or you may say it's boring. One of the two. So.
Never boring, right? Never. But I appreciate your time here today and look forward to seeing you at the next school board meeting and all the great information there. So make sure you check out medinabees.org for all your information about the levy, and we'll see you next time right here on Medina TV.